video is for everyone who is really working on their 1-point perspective. And so I'd like you to grab a piece of paper and a pencil and a ruler and follow along as I draw with my child's chalk. So here's my piece of paper, and with every point of perspective except for maybe 5-point, we just always start with a horizon line. So you're going to take your ruler, you're going to go towards the middle of the paper, you're just going to draw a perfectly horizontal line kind of towards that middle. Now, we call it 1-point perspective because you have one vanishing point. So I'm going to put my vanishing point in the very center of the paper. Now, probably the simplest form of 1-point perspective is just that classic road. So you could just make 2 orthogonal lines. An orthogonal line is any line going towards the vanishing point. So that could be a simple start. If you wanted to make your little dashes, make them small and getting longer as they come towards you. And just that simple using a vanishing point and orthogonal lines, you already create space, you already create depth. So let's take it up a notch and we'll do a cube in space. So the first thing you do is, I'm just going to do one right down in the corner over here. So I'm just going to draw a square. I'm going to take the points of the square that are closest to the vanishing point, and I'm going to draw my orthogonal lines. Harvey, come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. So I'm going to take my 3 points that are closest to my vanishing point, and I'm going to draw my orthogonal lines. Now, I like to draw these really lightly. I'm not going to do it with chalk, but then I can erase those eventually. Now there is actually, this line does go towards the vanishing point. So if I had a transparent cube, like a piece of ice, then I would actually draw that one too. But let's just pretend for this example that it's a opaque cube. So now I need to cut off my shape. And how I cut off my shape is I put my ruler directly along the horizontal and I slide it up and draw a parallel line. So these two lines are parallel. And then I cut off the vertical by putting my ruler perfectly vertical and sliding it across and cutting off that vertical. And just with those simple directions, now I have a cube in space. So let's make it a little bit trickier. Let's do a cube that's more like a building that starts at above the horizon line and goes below the horizon line. So I'm going to do that on the right side here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my square just as I did the first time. But this time I'm going to have it going above the horizon line and below the horizon line. This time I only have 2 corners that are close to my vanishing point. These corners still do go to the vanishing point, but we can't see them if it's opaque. I'm going to draw my orthogonal lines to the vanishing point. Now this time I only have to cut it off once. So I slide my ruler over and I'm going to create that perfectly vertical right there. Now I have my building in space. Now, if I wanted to create a door or a window on this side of the building, it's going to have similar rules. For the top and the bottom are going to go to the vanishing point, and the sides are going to be perfectly vertical. So I can very easily draw a door by doing 2 verticals, and the top and bottom of my door are going to that vanishing point. Now, if I wanted to do a door on the front side, it is perfectly vertical and horizontal. There's no orthogonal lines there. If I wanted this door to be open, I could take this corner and go to the vanishing point like that, and there I create a door that looks like it's going open. If this one wanted to be open, I would need to do a horizontal line right there, and then it looks like you can walk through the building. Now you can create buildings on buildings on buildings and a whole row of them pretty simply. All you need to do is keep making your, maybe this one's taller. It goes back towards the vanishing point. The top goes to the vanishing point. I cut it off right there with a vertical. And now this is kind of being tucked behind that original building. And I know that it needs to go vertically down. This little alleyway right here, I need a horizontal. And now I have a building that I just tucked behind using the same kind of rules that I just applied there. Now, a cube is not the only thing we can draw in one point perspective. You can draw any kind of shape. For example, I could have the bat signal up in the sky. I'm going to take the edges, go to my vanishing point, and then this time if I cut off this to be a cylinder, instead of a straight line that I'm repeating down here, I'm going to do a curved line that's parallel just like that, so I can have a cylinder in space. So that is really basic one-point perspective. This can get as complicated as you want. For example, I could create a sidewalk that comes around here just by an orthogonal line and a horizontal line. And then all of my sidewalk edges would be horizontal. I could create a curb, and then these would be vertical. So basically, in one-point perspective, one thing to kind of think about is you can ask yourself, check it by saying, are all my lines vertical, horizontal, or orthogonal? And if they're not, you maybe need to check on that. So that is kind of the basics of one-point perspective, and I hope that helped you as you work on your drawings.